Okay, we're in the Tailwind dashboard, and I'm going to show you how I use and how I recommend you use the Tailwind Analytics. Now, I find a lot of people get a little kind of too sunk in the weeds with analytics a lot of the time, and they overanalyze what they're doing to the point where it's almost paralyzing. So I'm not going to recommend that you just spend hours doing this, but there's a few little things that I think it's important that you're aware that they're there, and that there's a couple little places I like to pay attention in order to improve my pen performance. Okay, so I'm in my dashboard, and when I pop onto Tailwind, I take a quick look at this, and really my only takeaway here is that I want all of these numbers green with an arrow pointing up. That shows me that my repins, my domain pins, and my followers are all trending upwards. So that's my big takeaway there. I'm not going to freak out over how much they're trending upwards or anything like that. If something happens and these start going down, that's when I'm going to get concerned, and I'm going to look at, hey, what am I doing differently that is causing me to have less repins this week than I did the week before? What am I doing differently that's making my follower growth slow down? So that's our takeaway from the dashboard. I'm going to come down here and show you the second thing I like to check, and that's this engagement rate down here. Now, this is my profile performance page. So I'm over here under Track Your Brand page and Profile Performance. And this tells me my followers, again, green trending upward, my pins trending upward, repins trending upward, comments upward by 1. I'm not totally concerned about comments. It's good for engagement, but it's not anywhere near my priority. Now, my virality score down here shows me the average number of repins I have per pin. And that's 41.4 right now. And then if you look down here very closely, it says 41.6 was the highest in the last 30 days. So I'm right around there. And then if I go over here to my engagement score, it shows me repins per pin per follower. So that's telling me that the virality is just repins per pin. So let's say I have a pin or a board, and my average repin per pin it's getting 200 repins. Well, if that board has 100,000 followers, I mean, that's still a great number of repins, but it's not getting a ton of my followers to repin it. If that board has 500 followers and 200 of them are repinning everything that goes on there, that's going to be a much higher engagement score. So those are just two things to kind of keep an eye on. But this engagement rate is a big one for me, and it's something that I really worked on, and I've found that it improved my Pinterest performance. And that's having an engagement rate of 100%. And that's the percent of pins with at least one repin. So years ago, I took off all the pins on my public boards that didn't have a certain number of repins. At first I did that didn't have 1 or 2 repins. And then I did 10. And I think last time I did it, I think I did 10 when I showed you on the video. On my viral boards, I've taken out everything under 50. And I do that with the board booster that I showed you before. But what that does is taking out those pins shows Pinterest that 100% of my pins, at least someone out there is interested in. And that's going to affect how they display my pins and my profile activity in their algorithm right now. Now, I will update this lesson if they change the algorithm and we think that that's not working anymore. But right now, from the people that I've talked to in the industry and other bloggers that I know, this is a big deal. And it's not a hard thing to increase your engagement rate. And if you go into the Pinterest analytics, I suggest going into those demographics and those interests to see what your audience is interested in. Make sure that you're pinning what they're interested in so that your engagement rate is high. If you want to start pinning, if you're a recipe blogger and you want to start pinning vacation stuff and no one in your audience is interested in vacations, just make it a secret board and it won't hurt your engagement, okay? Board insights, it's good to look at. I don't go overboard here, but if I look at my I took off the secret boards, and if I look at my group boards and my regular boards here, it lists them. Right now it's listed by engagement score. So I like to go by virality score is my, either one of those is good for me. But the virality score shows me the average repins per pin. So you can see that board that I made when I was doing the tutorial on viral boards, the best cleaning tips ever, is getting almost 250 repins per pin. There's only 16 pins on there. So if I have a new cleaning tip blog post, I'm going to pin it to some other boards, and then I'm going to go in and pin it to this viral cleaning tip board that I made. And because Pinterest thinks, wow, everything she puts on there is really, really popular, it's going to show that to more people in their feeds. You can see group boards. What are your most well-performing group boards? You can sort this by a variety of things, but I think the repins per pin is kind of the best look, because if you have a smaller board, your engagement rate is going to be a little higher if you have the same number than if there's a larger board. So you can see this board, followers, is a group board that I'm on, and it has a lot more followers than some of my personal boards I've created recently. But it's still getting a ton of repins per pin, but the engagement score is lower because it has so many people on it. But I don't care about that, which is why I sort it by virality, because I just want those repins, because every one of those repins means I'm more likely to show up in the feed of someone that's not already following my boards, because I'm going to show up in the feed of whoever pinned my pin. So that's why I sort by virality score. When we go to the monitor your domain, I don't mess around much here in Insights, because you don't get a ton of information. You can see your general pins, but this other information you need to sign up for a higher plan in order to access. You can see trending images. Like obviously this pumpkin pie oatmeal that I made last week is doing pretty well. But I do like to go into organic activity here and see what people are pinning off my webpage, because obviously pumpkin and fall is trending right now. But if I scroll down, and like this was a newer blog post, and if I go down and let's say I find, let's see, like this random cat post. So that's not what I'm tracking for being popular right now. It's not fall, it's not pumpkin spice, it's not autumn decor or anything, but it's someone is on there and someone's pinning it, and I can hop on here and repin it directly from Pinterest to a board and just kind of build on that activity that it was just repinned recently. But I like to see just in general what people are visiting and pinning off of my website, and it helps me to see maybe something I need to repin because it's seasonal that I hadn't really thought about. So I find that useful. And I'm going to end it there, because those, I don't want to swamp you with information, but those are the most useful parts of the Pinterest dashboard and analytics and all that I find can actually help you do something productive for your Pinterest profile, as opposed to just crowding your brain with random numbers. So take a look in your Pinterest profile, look at those areas, and think about how you can increase your engagement score, look at those viral boards, and look at what people are pinning organically off your website so that you can have a better strategy with what you should be pinning, and even what content you might want to create this time of year, depending on what time of year it is, because people are obviously looking for that.